Nah, hold on 1 second. I messed up.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
All right. See, that's the new way, Jew. I was doing the new way. The new way is to put the disclaimer up, do the 30 seconds, and then put the intro. As soon as the intro go off, you home. That still gives you about a minute and over a minute and 40 seconds to. But I forgot to put the banner up. But Robert showing me the new way to do it because it's supposed to be done this way right here instead of the old way we was doing it. We knew what we were doing.
It's cool. Are we on live right now?
Oh, ain't no question. You all live.
What up, Savannah? I tell you, that's my boy Julius Hall. I am so excited that we are here tonight on Ink to Ink, Incarceration to Incorporation on ATR Media. We are going to have some fun tonight, but we're going to also be informed tonight. I am so excited about voting. Voters registration. We have a special guest, and we're going to talk about making your voice heard. Do you not know that you got influence? Well, we're going to use that influence, or we're going to actually help you to learn how to use your influence. But before we do that, let me give a big shout out to my partner AB, who had the brainchild to think of Ain't the Ain't. A shout out to Marie Jones, our other co-host. A shout out to my man Julius Hall. Why are we here? We are here, first of all, to change the narrative. We got a platform, and that platform is to help us to tell our story, and our story is important. Why? So many people think that when we, returning citizens, come home, that we automatic recidivism, go back into incarceration. But that is not the case. We changing that false narrative because many of us are successful in our own rights, whether it's educationally, organizationally, or occupationally, or even relationally. We are productive men and women of society. And we are partnered with OAA Savannah, Offender Alumni Association. And what we do is we provide a safe space for men and women to tell their story, whether they are returning citizens, relatives of returning citizens, or resources for returning citizens. So without further ado, we're going to bring on our special guest tonight. His name is Mr. Jerome Irwin. He's going to tell us a little bit about who he is and what he does as it relates to voting, but also as it relates to incarceration. How you doing today, Mr. Jerome?
Well, good evening, Mr. Campbell. Good evening, Mr. Hall.
Good evening.
My name is Jerome Irwin, Sr. I am an elder in Resurrection Pentecostal Temple Church. I'm president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, vice president of the Labor Council, and I am also an organizer with the Teamsters Local 728. So I wear many hats in this community.
Well, tell us about some of those hats. What is the A. Philip Randolph Institute, number one? Number two, tell us a little bit more about what you're doing as it relates to the community.
All right. A. Philip Randolph is an organization that was created many years ago. It's been around, the organizer of A. Philip Randolph himself, he organized the Pullman Porters Union. He's the man that was the catalyst behind the March on Washington. He also brought AFL and AFL union and the CIO union together to make the AFL-CIO. Our organization is the bridge between labor and the community and labor. It works two ways. We try our best to make sure that the people in the community knows what's going on as far as politics is concerned. We get out and we try to tell the people, we try to make sure that they know the truth about what's going on and who is out there running in the elections, and we do forums and things of that nature to make sure that people are well educated.
Well, what I want you to do tonight, why are you here with us tonight? I know I can tell our listeners what you want to tell them, but I believe that it will become better from you. We talked about tonight that it's called Let Your Voice Be Heard, because you have influence with your voice as it relates to voting. But tell us just from the beginning, and then we're going to work our way through this. Why are you specifically here tonight?
I'm here tonight because our people need to know the importance of voting. Some people have the idea that their vote don't count, but that's wrong. Your vote don't count. If you don't vote, you have no say. But if you vote, you got a voice. A lot of times it may not turn out the way you want it to do, but then when it doesn't turn out the way you want it to turn out, and the people doesn't do what they say they're gonna do, you hold them accountable. And that's something that we have not been doing and in this area, holding our politicians accountable. And we're on the verge now of showing people how to hold the politicians accountable. If they don't do what they tell you they're gonna do in one term, find somebody else running against them. We have to do this in order to get people to understand that the people have a voice, and if they use their voice, they can change things in the city of Savannah. We also hear a lot of young folk. The younger folk would be saying, well, why should I vote? Why shouldn't you vote? If you don't vote, then whatever they say that the old folks tell them, and that's what goes. But if you go to the poll and you vote, you've got a say in it. If we have a saying that if you're not at the table, then you on the menu.
That's correct.
I mean, you getting that up.
I like that. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
That's right.
So with these organizations, they're partisan or non-partisan organizations?
A. Philip Randolph is a nonpartisan organization. We don't endorse, we just give out information. We're an educational organization.
Okay. And so that means that you're not on any particular party's side. You're for the people. You're giving out information so that people can make their own sound decisions.
Exactly. You know, if you educate the person, they can make a sound decision. If they're not educated, they'll listen at somebody. I had the unfortunate situation to listen at a young man about 6 months ago tell me that his boss said that he shouldn't vote for this particular person. And I asked him who was his boss. And he said, well, my boss tell me this and my boss tell me that. I had to try to straighten the young man out because this day and age, you shouldn't have a boss. It's going to tell you what to do. You should have your own mind made up.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Because you say you want to educate the people. I need you to break that down when you say educate the people. For example, when I was doing a little research before speaking about voters registration, I understood that there were at least 3 specific reasons why people should vote, especially African Americans. One of those reasons was because a lot of people fought, bled, and died for the rights to vote. Why would they do that and we not take advantage of that opportunity? I want you to speak to that. But secondly, there was another reason why it is important to vote. Because if you don't use your influence, somebody else will, and they may put a negative person that in office who does not care about your community. So that is another reason for you to vote. And then I'll tell you the third one later, but speak to those two issues about how our brothers and sisters, African American that is, gave their lives for the very purpose or privilege to vote.
Years ago, when we came out of slavery, people wanted to be free. You're not free if you can't vote. People fought, like you said, they fought for that right. Many people lost their lives. Many people fought for the right to be treated fairly and to have the same and be treated just like every other man. Many people right here in the city of Savannah was hit by fire hoses, chased down by dogs, beat by billy sticks. But when all that come to an end, we won the right to vote. The price was paid by our parents, our grandparents. They knew what it was to have the urge to want to have freedom. There's an old song that said, freedom, oh freedom. They say if I was a slave, be 10 feet in my grave. But I would rather have freedom. I'd rather have a chance to say what I want to say. If I was in slavery time, if it was still slavery time, I would not be alive. Because I speak what on my mind. And when I speak my mind, I'm going to say what I got to say. And people that think that their voice come free is sadly mistaken when they come from where we came from. I came out of the last part of the era of the fight. Back in the 60s when Savannah was they were very, very racial. But we fought. And when we fought to win. We didn't fight to lose. We fought to win.
So let me ask you this. What about that person that's watching right now and saying, yeah, but my vote don't matter or it doesn't change anything? Could you tell us examples of how their voices do matter, how our voices did change elections? Could you share some examples?
I can give you a modern day example.
Mm-hmm.
And when we voted the last election, right here in the city of Savannah, there were people elected for one reason and one reason only, to make change. When they were supposed to make the change, they changed. Now, when election time comes back, then we make the change again. That's what I'm talking about when I say we hold people accountable. When we look around and somebody's saying, well, I'm not going to vote because my vote don't count. Well, your vote is not going to count if you don't vote. You don't have nothing in the game. You don't have no skin in the game if you don't vote.
Okay.
But
There
if
was
you
a
vote,
story. There was a story not long ago about how our vote changed the last election with Mr. Warnock, and also even before that. Do you remember when African Americans of all and many others as well, women got out to vote? That was instrumental in changing the narrative or the election with Barack Obama, the first African American president. So those are modern day examples of how, when you yourself get out to use your voice, it does impact. And so I wanted to bring that to the table. What's up, Sleepy Frazier? What's up, JMS? And those of you that are also watching right now. But tell us, Mr. Irvin, give us other reasons why it is important for us to get out and vote.
when we go to the polls to vote, as blacks, when we get out and vote, we vote in numbers. Just like the other day, they had the redistricting. If we get out and vote in numbers, we can change that. They trying the best thing they know how, the best way they know how, in order to make it so that they can suppress our vote. When they think they got us suppressed, we have to come up fighting and get out and vote. I am not supporting nobody here, but I have to say that we had a few candidates got out and got out into the rural areas of Georgia. The rural areas is where our votes has been missing a lot, and we had people go out into rural areas. Black Voters Matter has been through Georgia and still going through Georgia, and we are working hard in order to get the votes out. People are getting the understanding, let's put it that way, are getting the understanding of why they should vote. Nobody wants to be left behind. And they had a thing about no child left behind. We don't want no voters left behind. We want all voters to the poll. We have, it was said that we had like 96% of the registered voters registered, but we only have about 22% of the voters voting. Here's the problem: we got to find a way to get the rest of them out in order to vote.
What have you been doing to get the word out that people's voices matter? What have you been doing in the past, and what do you look to do presently?
Okay, in the past, we've been doing forums to educate the community. We've been right here on the show with Mr. Hall several times. We do things like we have mixers and introduce the candidates to the communities. Let them know who they are, and we don't pick and choose. We invite everybody. We don't invite just one side and not the other. We invite everybody. And when we do, we let them know right there on the spot. Hey, do what you say do. It's one term and that's it. We are going to make sure that these people that we're voting on in the last election and the upcoming election are all held accountable. And we will not stop until we let them know that we mean business here in the city of Savannah.
What offices are we voting for right now? Number one, or actually number one, when are we supposed to vote? What date?
May 24th.
May 24th, okay. And do you have the locations where we'll be allowed to vote?
There are different locations throughout the city. throughout the county. Yes, I'm sorry.
Is there
Thank
a website we can go to or let our people
Chatham
know?
County Elections Office, and
Yeah.
they have the list of polling places. They also have a list of the early voting places. On the 25th, on the 15th, they have Sunday voting. That's the only Sunday they gave us this year, and we are going to do what we call a stroll to the poll. We couldn't take Mama to the poll on Mother's Day because they changed that day. So we're gonna take them on the 15th, and when we take them, we want to pack the poll on that day. We are asking all the ministerial staff, all the churches, all the organizations to come out that Sunday. Well, let's put people in the poll. Let's get the vote turned out, because one of the things they want to do, they want to take the Sunday voting away from us.
And do you notice that there's no sense of urgency in our community when it comes to that, because people don't realize what's really going on, and they don't really try to do anything until it knocks on their doors. And that's one of the main problems with having a 22% voting rate instead of a 75 or 80% voting rate. If we voted in numbers, we would run the state completely all the time, because Georgia is a blue state. That we just don't vote blue because blue don't go out to vote. So, I know Mr. Irvin is a nonpartisan guy, but when you're talking about doing things for the people, it shouldn't have a side. It should be everybody doing for the people. What resonated with me when you was talking earlier, Mr. Irvin, when you said freedom, when you were saying that, it resonated with me because, a lot of people don't understand it because they've never been faced with it, having to want freedom. And just like our ancestors from hundreds of years ago being brought over here and put into slavery, just like our ancestors and grandparents and great grandparents being subjected to the harsh treatments and being in servitude 100 years ago. When you're locked up, you long for that freedom also. So you kind of like feel what they went through, because all you're thinking about is freedom. Just like the slave running away every day off of the plantation, he knew that all he wanted was freedom. When you were talking about that just resonated with me. The days, every day that you thought, oh man, I can't wait to be free. Same thing.
That reminds me, Julius. That reminds me of, when you paint the picture like that, people don't miss their freedoms until it's taken away, or their freedom of choice until it's been stripped. And now, what Mr. Irvin and yourself, what you're saying to our listeners is that, listen, if you want to continue to have a hand in what takes place around you, then you must use the voice that you have been given. I like that. I got to say that one more time. If you want to continue to have a hand in the decision-making process that's going on around you, then you must use your voice in order to keep it. How does that sound, Mr. Irvin?
That sounds great. I tell you, when you say, like Mr. Hall said, you don't know what you're missing until you get locked up. Many of our brothers and sisters have been locked up, and when they come out, and be able to walk the streets again, they're still holding them down because they're telling them they don't have a voice. They're telling them they can't vote. That's a lie. when they paid it, when they done their time and they pay the restitution, they can go and vote for certain felonies.
Well, let me say this in reference to that. Do you not know that here in Georgia, if you are, of course, in prison, on probation, or parole, then you have no rights to vote. You can't get those rights back until after you have been off of probation or parole. Then you have to be intentional about getting those rights back. But I find that to be something we ought to really seriously consider. Do you know how many people that are on probation or parole? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and those of you that are listening, you can go and Google it, but I believe there's over 100,000 people in the state of Georgia that's on some sort of probation or parole. That is a large amount of people. I know also that there's at least 50 to 60,000 people that's in Georgia prisons. So that's a large portion of Georgia that have no rights to vote. Is that intentional or not? However, for our returning citizens, those of you that are now home, and I encourage you, go and make sure if you are off probation or parole, you've done your time, as Mr. Irwin has stated, be intentional about getting your rights reinstated, because that is a strong base of influence that we wield if we use our voice. And so, Mr. Irwin, tell me, what offices are up for election?
All right, give me 1 second here. I just pulled them up.
While you're looking at them, Tisha Fulton, all the way in Las Vegas. What's up, cousin? Sir DP, I see you. Sir DP say, by the way, I am a registered voter. Awesome. I definitely appreciate that. And we need others of you to let us know if you are registered to vote. And if you aren't, would you do us a favor tonight? Would you tell somebody that voting time is here? Would you share? Just hit that share button so that others will be motivated and stirred to let their voices be heard. Oh, I like that. Would you hit that share button so that others will be stirred to be registered and let their voice be heard? Go ahead. What's going on, Mr. Irwin?
All right. We've got a bunch. We have a lot of offices. We got the United States Senate. We've got the office for governor, the lieutenant governor, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General's office. We've got the Commissioner of Agriculture, Commissioner of Insurance, the State Superintendent, the Commissioner of Labor. We got a Public Service Commission District. We've got the Public Service Commission of District 3, United States Representative, State Senate District 2, the State House Representative 163, members of the Chatham County Board of Elections. We've got the Board of Education, the superintendent not superintendent, I'm sorry, the president of the Board of Education. We've got 4 seats, I'm sorry, for the Board of Education districts. We got District 5, District 6, I think it is, and District 7 and 8.
Not 7.
Not
District
7,
8.
okay. We got 8, okay.
5, 6, 8, and the president.
Right, okay.
And 4, but 4 went unopposed.
Okay. I thought it was 4. And then we got the judge seat. Those are on the ballots, but wait a minute now.
Okay.
Nobody has spoke yet about the referendum. They got questions on the ballots. Did nobody know until now, because we couldn't get the ballots from. We couldn't get the sample ballots until today. That's another form of suppression they got going on. They just brought out the sample ballots today in some areas. So now that's another job for me. I've got to go through these and find out what the questions are and how to bring them to the public, and I have to do that by next week, so that we can talk intelligently about them. Because when they did that, they didn't want nobody to understand the question to talk about these. And voting starts on Monday. Early voting starts Monday. So the older folks are going to be asking questions, and we want to be able to answer the questions.
I got some questions. What's up, Mike Kelly? Mike Kelly says voting changes things. I appreciate that. You are absolutely correct. You just said three things that I think we need to talk about. Number one, you said that they just sprung something on us as if it was to be intentional about voter suppression. And so if that is the case, and that's not the only thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there something that's out right now that you can't give older people water or pass out something to drink or something to eat when they're standing in the lines long? Is that something that I've heard that's true?
It is true. Now here's the thing with that. You can't do that within 150 feet of the pole. Within 150 feet of the pole. When you talk about 150 feet of the pole, that's not very far. But
why do you think that is? Why do you think that came about?
If you get a person in line and the person is old and they're hungry, are they sick, they're not gonna stay in that line. That's the reason. That's the reason. That's the way they suppress the vote.
Wow, Julius, I definitely want you to weigh in on this, but it sounds to me like intentionality is at play, that people are doing things intentionally to A, hinder, and then B, frustrate voters so that they won't turn out. Am I correct in some of these things that are taking place?
You are correct. And last night, hold on a minute, Julius, and I'll let you have it. Last night we were in a conversation last night with Black Voters Matter. We are taking things. They're investigating things, and there's going to be some changes made. Believe me. We have lawyers coming in from everywhere, and we will have lawyers here on the 15th to make sure that they don't try anything to try to deter the people that are going out to vote. We will have legal representation here with us.
Okay, Julius.
Well, when you have lawmakers who have had a president in office who disregards all the laws and rules, then they get emboldened to do the same thing. So what they did with this law was say, let's try them. If they don't complain or if they don't start a movement to redirect us, then it's okay. What has happened is that we have not been made to be angry enough. What has happened is we have not been stepped on enough. We're comfortable in the places that we're at. So there is no fight in us. It's only a few of us out here fighting. Me and Brother Jerome on the forefront of getting, trying to get things changed when you're talking about politically. and informing the people politically. So it's some others. But I'm saying this not what it takes is a whole force of people.
Right.
The only thing these people understand and respect is numbers. That's all they respect and understand. If they do something and they see that you are not complaining up to here, they don't care. Because if you just saying it down here, they saying, "Oh, that'll pass by. Don't worry about it. It's not much noise. There's no movement. They're not coming here to bother us." So
I like that because I want you to speak to this, Julius, again, but also you, Mr. Irwin. Julius, did you hear that list that Mr. Irwin read out? And before we go off air, I want you to reread that list because it sounds to me like there are multiple areas of our lives that will be affected by voter turnout: education, employment, laws, policy. Julius, what do you have to say about those offices that are underway?
What I have to say is that, and I'm going to talk directly to the people. Don't
Okay.
wait until it affects you at your front door before you start doing it. Before you start doing anything, don't wait. You got to get involved now because it's coming. These are just tests that they're giving us. These are tests that they're giving us. They're testing to see your fight. And if you don't have a fight game to go along with their legislation game, you ain't going to win. They're testing right now to see the level of your fight. And we don't have the fight in us. We got the, some people just stay home and say, "Oh, let them do that." But it affects you. You got to come out and be a participant in this fight. It's about your grandkids and your great grandkids. Ain't about you no more. We're at that age now that we up there. We got long on this earth. We got to worry about those babies. We got to worry about those little ones that we're leaving behind. And if we leave them a world where we didn't fight, where we didn't put in any effort to change things that affects their life because of the color of their skin or because of the neighborhoods they live in, then we're neglecting our duties as humans and as their ancestors.
I want you to tell me
Can I
something,
say something, Julius?
Huh?
May I say something?
Yes, but while you're saying it, I also want you to weave in there a specific story of voting that stirred you, whether it was this recent voting that you participated in, or whether it was your first. Can you give us an experience that you shared while you yourself was voting? And then go ahead and share what else on your heart.
The story that the voting that stirred me the most was when we got enough of black folks together to go to the poll to vote President Obama in. It moved me tremendous that evening to be able to look and see that we had a black man who could actually lead the people. See, that's part of our problem. Our leaders that we don't have leaders like we used to have. The leaders are few and far apart. The leaders that we have now are tired, worn out, trying to lead. Our younger folk think that they have arrived when they haven't arrived, they haven't even begun. We were just scratching the surface of what we could do if all of us go to the polls. We need to have our young people, 18, 19 years old, out in the streets with us, walking the streets, talking to people. We need to be having forums with these young kids, letting them know that they have not arrived, letting them know that the struggle that the people went through to get to where they can be where they're at today, and they're not where they should be. So we need to be able to do these kind of things, and we need to get some of these younger folk to understand the importance of voting. You know, for a while they took civics out of the high school. The kids didn't know what civics was. They didn't know how to talk about government. We have to teach our people these things. We have to go back and teach them civics. We have to go back and tell them where they come from. I know Julius. No, I don't know. I don't think you're quite old as me and Julius, but
He old.
we, when we were coming up, our parents would sit us down. We had to sit at the table and hear about what went on when they were younger, who their parents was, who our grandparents were. We had to hear these things. We had to hear about the struggles that they went through. We had to know that there was a cotton field. I was a grown man, 21 years old, when I first saw a cotton field, and I was driving a truck and didn't know what I saw then until somebody stopped me because I was talking about Oak Run and collard green. Before they stopped me, told me, don't say that no more, and told me what it was. But I was a grown man, and this is a thing that we have to look out for, because my daddy didn't tell my daddy and my mama didn't allow me to go in the country. They'd been in there long enough, and they said they weren't going back. So these are the kind of things that we have to talk to our kids about and get them to understand what it used to be to pick cotton, what it used to be to pick tobacco, and to go in the field and sweat all day long with the snakes and everything else. And then maybe they'll start understanding what we're talking about.
You know, I want to say thank you, first of all, because you're not just talking, you have been intentional about trying to utilize or speak to our younger adults. I know with the rep students, or you even work with some of the deep students, deep center, that is, and you asked them to come out and participate in voters registration and voters awareness, and you were able to speak with them, and you were able to allow them to be in the presence of that type of environment. So I appreciate what you are doing right now as it relates to voting. What can you say to your audience to stir and motivate them? Because I myself, at this particular time, I can't vote because I'm still on parole. But if I could, because of all that I've learned over the last couple of weeks, because of what I've been reading, because of the enlightenment that I now have, because of men like you and Julius Hall and others that I've seen, along with APR and Deep Center and a host of other voter registration people, I wish that I could vote, but because I can't, I want to use what I can, and that's my voice, to do what? To stir and motivate and compel others to vote. I wish those of you that are listening right now, give Mr. Irwin your ear as he pleads with you to go out and vote. Go ahead right now, Mr. Irwin. You got YouTube, Facebook, families, community, radio station. Use that right now to make your case.
The plea that I would make is to, first of all, bring our leaders out of the shadows. Our ministers need to come out from under the woodwork. our organizations need to come out of the woodwork. I work with the NAACP, and they need to come out and be more vocal. Our leaders came from out of the NAACP. We need these people to come out and speak up, and let their voices be heard. Like Julia said, we old. We getting up. We getting out though. As soon as I want to find a young man to put in my place, I want somebody younger than me to take the reins of A. Philip Randolph. Somebody that has the heart to want to do something with the people, want to lead the people. We can't stay back and be quiet. We've got to raise our voice. We've got to stand for something. There's an old saying, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. So we want to stand for something and let our voices be heard. Go to the polls and vote. Don't let nobody tell you that your vote don't count, because your vote does count. And if it don't count, then you go back to the poll again and make it count, because you get rid of the person that you put in there the first time, and get rid of them, and then make your voice heard. Make these people accountable for what they do and how they do it. Don't stop letting these people tell you what to do. You do what you want, what you're supposed to do. Do what your mind tell you to do. Stand and don't stop standing.
Okay. I need you to do me a favor before we get ready to come to a close. Can you get your list for me one more time? And I would like for you to clearly read those offices again, so that those that are listening, what's up, Craig Smith? So that those that are listening will be able to know the importance of those areas of influence that they are getting ready to let slip through their hands if they don't use their voice and vote.
Yes, sir. Okay, we've got the United States Senate. We've got the Attorney General's office. We've got the governor. You got the United States House of Representatives. You got Senate District 2. You got the Agriculture Commission. You got the Insurance Commission. We have the Lieutenant Governor. You have the State School Board. You have the Chatham County Board of Elections. You got the Secretary of State, the Public Service Commission, District 2 and District 3. You got the Board of Education. You got the President. You got the 3 districts running. 4, 5, and 8. All these are running. But I want to, since you told me to do this, I want to go back to one thing, I think we don't pay very close attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the Commissioner of Agriculture. There used to be a time when every household had a garden in the backyard, and we learned how to grow and take care and grow vegetable stuff for our own house. We don't do that no more. We depend on going to the grocery store. We don't even go to the farmer's market no more. We go to the grocery store and get what we want to get. That's another area where we go lacking in teaching our kids how to grow and how to sustain their own self. So all this comes with going out and voting. We have to be able to teach our kids how to survive. And they won't survive if they don't go out and vote, because they'll be done. Somebody will be done in the seat and have them back in chains and shackles.
Do you have any events that we can look forward to that the community can know about? Do you have any upcoming events that
yes,
will help
we
us
do.
What are they?
We do. We have, in fact, tomorrow we will be at Savannah State with the Deltas. They'll be walking out voter suppression. Then on the 5th, we will be over at Stillwell Towers with the senior citizens. They'll have a block party in order to educate the senior citizens over there. The senior citizens are asking, what can they do to vote? How can they vote? They want to know what can they do about their insurance. And they finally got somebody over there that's thinking about these people and doing something to help these people. So we will be there on the 15th. Like I said, we will be at the poll. It'll be sponsored by A. Philip Randolph and some of the partners of Black Voter Matter. We will be doing the stroll to the poll. And that's where we want everybody to come out on that Sunday. After church, come to the polls and vote. We want to make sure that we pack the polls on that day. And we want our voices to be heard.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. You heard that? Those events that are upcoming. I was talking to another group, the Savannah Tribune. They also have a few Zoom meetings that they will be airing to the public to help motivate and stir others to vote. And I know that there's some other upcoming events. What we're asking you to do, please, by all means, tell somebody, ask somebody, are you voting? Are you registered? If not, we have information that can get you registered so that you can make your voice heard. Julius, Paul, you got anything you want to say as we get ready to come?
Before you, I left off one thing.
Oh, yes, sir.
I left off one thing. Next Saturday on the 7th, we will be in Hitch Village. I presume, I don't have the exact location yet, but I do know it starts at 3 o'clock. We're presuming it's at right there on Randolph and Wheaton Street. But we will have a big event right there, and we'll be registering people to vote and everything else right there.
All right. I'll make sure I'll be there with you. And those of you who want to hear what we've stated again, you can go to ATR Media. That's All Things Relevant Media, and look up Ink to Ink, Incarceration to Incorporation. Or I know that Julius has other shows on that gives the same information, just by different faces. Remember, we are encouraging you to let your voice be heard. Julius Hall.
Don't forget, May 2nd, Monday coming, May 2nd, is the first day of early voting. Go out and vote. You can change things. If you don't know who to vote for, call somebody who does, who can give you some information on who to vote for. A lot of people don't know. We get calls all the time, and we have to tell people this is the best person to our knowledge that you should vote for. We need some slates put out with people's names on them, that some of these people who don't pay attention to it but are avid voters, we need to start letting them know who is best to advocate for their needs. We need people who are willing to put their egos aside, who are running for these offices, put their ego aside, and will do what's right for the people. People who are not going to be brought and sold on the first week in office. So, times are changing, and we're calling out all the call-outs, all the sellouts, rather. And we need to get, it's the people's time. And we need to make sure that we continue to understand that it's the people's time. If you're not registered to vote, call any of us. We can get you registered to vote. We got the forms that we can tell you where they have a voter registration drive with Mr. Irvin, with the People's Agenda, with A. Philip Randolph, with all these organizations that are all working together to get the voting rolls up. But, like he said, it's 90% of the people in the state that are eligible to be registered to vote are registered. We just got to get them to the polls. So
Gotcha.
That's the thing. That's the next new drive that I think will be on the horizon, getting those people to the polls that are already registered to vote. You have to get them involved, engaged, and got to get them active. So that's all I got.
Mr. Irwin, can you give us that website again on how we can go and find out who are the candidates and a little bit about them and voting issues?
Okay, that's the Chatham County Elections Office, and that's right. That's on the website. All you got to do is look it up, and they'll be right there. Brother Julius, both of y'all named Julius, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Brother Hall, you got a show next week about Tuesday. You have a show on Tuesday night?
Tuesday night, yeah, we got Living Proof, and at 7 we got, at 6 we got Naturals F with Ferrante Frazier, Living Proof with Von Jackson, the Love Alchemist, and then Alicia Blakely comes on at 8 or 7:30 or something like that.
Okay, well I asked, I wanted to try to go over these referendums and these questions they got on the ballot, and come back and speak to the people about what's on the ballot.
Well, you can come on any of these shows and do that. On the Wednesday, we got the Rabble. We got Friday. You right back here if you want to come in and do a pop in with Julius. I think we're gonna have the judge on next week. One of the judges, judge candidates. So you can always come in and pop in and give any information you want.
All right, sir.
And just make sure you reach out to Julius. What's up, Rod Jones? I see you watching also. So again, people, as we get ready to come to a close, you've heard it said that your voice does matter. You can't complain if you're not getting out and trying to make a difference. And that's what we're doing tonight. We simply want to encourage you, to motivate you, to educate you that voting is important. They wouldn't be fighting us tooth and nail if it wasn't important. Your voice does matter. And so, again, we thank you for coming out tonight. Again, listen out for those different events that is getting ready to come up May 7th, May 2nd. You will hear more about these events on next upcoming shows. But if you want to make a difference, if you want to impact, be it education, occupation, policy, legislation, you must exercise your voice. We thank you. We encourage you. As we always say here on Ink to Ink, we may, as returning citizens, we may have started out wrong, but look at us now. We are finishing strong. We look forward to seeing you next week. Be encouraged. God bless. Good night.
Like that.
this. I like this.